You meet someone, your palms sweat, your heart rate climbs. You have no idea why. You think it's romance. It's not. It's chemistry that's been running the same way for hundreds of thousands of years. For most of human history, finding a mate had almost nothing to do with candlelight or clever texts. It had to do with smell, scars, and who could throw a spear the farthest. Sounds strange? It gets stranger. Start with smell. Your nose is doing something your conscious brain never notices. Anthropologist Klaus Wedekind ran a now-famous study in the 1990s. Sometimes called the sweaty t-shirt study. Men wore the same shirt for 2 days. No cologne, no deodorant. Women smelled the shirts and rated which scents they found most attractive. The twist? Women consistently preferred the smell of men whose immune system genes, called MHC genes, were most different from their own. Why would that matter? Genetic diversity. Offspring from genetically different immune systems tend to have stronger, broader immunity. Your ancestors couldn't have known that. Their noses knew it for them. This wasn't a fluke of modern lab conditions either. The same MHC-based attraction patterns show up across multiple human populations and even in other mammals. Smell was doing matchmaking long before anyone had a word for genetics. Now picture an actual hunter-gatherer band. Maybe 40 people, moving across a savanna landscape 100,000 years ago. There's no dating pool of thousands. There's the same 40 faces. Season after season. So how do you avoid marrying your cousin for the 5th generation in a row? You leave. Anthropologist Kim Hill studied dozens of hunter-gatherer societies and found something remarkable. Most band-level societies practiced what researchers call exogamy, marrying outside your immediate group. Young people, often women, would move to a neighboring band at adolescence. This wasn't romantic wandering, it was survival math. A 2011 study led by Hill, published in Science, analyzed residence patterns across hunter-gatherer societies and found that this constant exchange of people between bands kept genetic diversity high and alliances strong. Mating wasn't private, it was diplomatic. Marrying into another band meant you now had in-laws in 2 different territories. If your group had a bad hunting season, you had somewhere to go. If conflict broke out, you had someone to vouch for you. Picture a teenage girl walking for 2 days with a small group of relatives. Arriving at a camp of strangers. And being expected to build a life there. Frightening. Also, quietly genius. It's an instinctive insurance policy. Written in marriage instead of paperwork. So smell filtered for genetics. Geography filtered for survival. But what about display? What about actually getting chosen? This is where it gets physical. And a little brutal. In many documented hunter-gatherer and tribal societies, status wasn't subtle, it was demonstrated. Among the Hadza of Tanzania, studied extensively by anthropologist Frank Marlowe, hunting success directly correlated with reproductive success. Marlowe's research, compiled over years of fieldwork, showed that skilled hunters who could reliably bring back meat had more reproductive partners and more surviving children. Meat sharing wasn't just generosity. It was the original resume. Now zoom out further, to evidence written in bone. Skeletal remains from across the Upper Paleolithic. The period from roughly 50,000 to 12,000 years ago. Show something striking. Some individuals were buried with elaborate ornamentation, hundreds of carved beads, pierced animal teeth, intricate shell jewelry, while others nearby had almost nothing. Archaeologists studying sites like Sungir in Russia, where 2 children were buried wearing thousands of mammoth ivory beads each. See this as early evidence of social status being displayed. Possibly inherited, possibly earned, status mattered, and status attracted. So picture the full scene now. A young man returns to camp at dusk, carrying a fresh kill across his shoulders. His chest is marked with deliberate scars, badges of survived hardship, maybe a brush with a lion or a failed hunt years before that almost killed him. Around the fire, he's not the loudest. He doesn't need to be. The meat speaks. The scars speak. Across the flames, a young woman watches, and for reasons she couldn't articulate, her body tells her this one is worth the risk. Here's the twist almost nobody expects. For most of human prehistory, choice mattered enormously, especially female choice. This contradicts the old caveman cliché of men simply dragging women off by force. Researcher Sarah Blaffer-Hrdy spent decades dismantling that myth. Her work shows that across primate and human evidence, female mate choice was an active, powerful evolutionary force, not a passive afterthought. Women evaluated hunting skill, kindness, scent, social standing, and crucially, evidence that a man would actually stick around and help raise children. Humans are unusual among mammals in how much both parents invest in offspring. That single fact reshaped how mate selection worked. It wasn't just about the strongest body. It was about the body attached to someone who'd still be there in 5 years. Which means romance. Real romance. The kind built on trust and long-term partnership. Isn't some modern invention layered on top of primal instinct. It might be the instinct. Now bring this back to today. Swipe right, swipe left, profile pictures, bios listing hobbies and jobs. It feels entirely new. It isn't. You are still running the same ancient software. The photo is the scarred chest. The job title is the fresh kill carried into camp. The "we matched on 3 things" is the MHC-driven scent you can no longer smell through a screen. So your brain substitutes other signals instead. Status, kindness, evidence of reliability. These were never modern obsessions. They were survival filters, refined over 250,000 years. Just wearing new clothes. So the next time your heart races over someone you just met, know that you're not imagining a connection out of nothing. You're running an algorithm older than language itself, built across thousands of generations of people who had to choose well. Because choosing badly could mean a child who didn't survive the next famine. You meet someone, your palms sweat, your heart rate climbs. Now you know exactly why.